going on, guys? Nathan here, bringing you a Team Fortress 2 gameplay commentary. This is a continuation of my little series I had going on my other channel called Terrible Team Fortress 2, and I'm just going to pick this up right where it left off. So this is the Soldier episode, and if you have not heard of Terrible Team Fortress 2 before, basically I use the worst loadout possible. Actually not exactly possible in this case, being I do cheat a little bit in this video, but I'll get into that a little bit later. But anyway, the essence of this series is to use really bad loadouts, try to do good with them, but sometimes I end up just failing and just like rage quitting, and yeah, stuff happens. And so that's what happened in a couple of episodes, but not this one. This one is not that bad, being Soldier is a pretty good class, so I was able to make do with what I had. So yeah, that's the essence of it, and I talk about what, or actually why, the weapons I'm using are bad. So let's get into it. Alright, so the most important aspect of this video, what loadout am I using? Well, I'm using the Liberty Launcher, as you've already seen. I'm also using the Man-Treads for my secondary, and then the Katana, the Half-Zatoichi, for my melee weapon as Soldier. And there are a couple of moments in this gameplay where I take up my Katana accidentally, thinking that I still had my escape plan, and I kind of get trapped, and I couldn't put it away. So, that tends to happen, and that is that's the reason why it sucks. Now, let's get into the actual weapons and why they're bad. So in an old video on my other channel, O0Brilliant00, I basically devoted an entire video on explaining that in a nutshell the Liberty Launcher is a crutch weapon. Well, what is a crutch weapon? Well, what it means is that the Liberty Launcher itself caters to new players who maybe need a little bit of help on their predictability skill for Soldier, because if you add increased projectile speed, that means that you don't need to predict enemies' movements as much as you previously would have with a slower projectile speed, being naturally the enemy can move more, and before the actual projectile strikes near them or them themselves. So it is a crutch weapon in that it helps new players, but if you are a seasoned, experienced soldier, you don't really need this weapon at all, and that is what I am. I am an experienced soldier, so I do not need the extra projectile speed, and I don't need to sacrifice myself one rocket. Now, is it really the worst soldier primary? Well, technically no. Technically the rocket jumper is the worst soldier primary, but I simply could not do that with this entire gameplay, because that would mean that I would have to pair up the rocket jumper with the katana, and oh my gosh, that is just super terrible. So I did cheat a little bit, and I went with the second worst soldier weapon. Now, obviously, if you're a beginner at Team Fortress 2, this is not going to be the worst weapon for you, but as you get more experience and you start refining your soldier skills, you will find that you will just cast it aside eventually and pick up the default rocket launcher, or some other rocket launcher that definitely does not sacrifice that one rocket. So definitely experienced players need that extra rocket, or actually it's just really nice to have that extra rocket, and the projectile speed does not come in handy if you already have your predictability skill pretty much nailed down. So yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell why the Liberty Launcher isn't really that good. Moving on to the Soldier secondary here, we have the Man-Treads. Now, originally when I was getting gameplay for this Soldier video, I originally went with the Battalion's Backup as the worst Soldier secondary, and I did do a video on this, but basically I explained that the Battalion's Backup is really freaking terrible, but when I took a closer look at the Soldier secondary repertoire, I realized that the Man-Treads, when you're not trolling with them or going for Market Gardener kills, are pretty much the worst secondary for Soldier, because first of all, its effects aren't that good, and second of all, the effects themselves don't actually come into effect that much anyway. You're not really going to be using them, or you're not going to really take advantage of what they have in the first place. So the whole 75% reduction in pushback damage, first of all, when are you ever really pushed back as a soldier? I mean, the number one circumstance I could think is if, well, actually there's two, but the number one would be if you're attacking a sentry nest, which, okay, let's go into this one. First of all, if you're a soldier, why are you attacking a sentry nest? I mean, even if you're being Ubered, which I suppose that would be kind of useful to go right up next to a sentry, but once again, I mean, I suppose rockets can do damage from a distance, so you don't need to be, like, up close to a sentry, so you don't really need the Man-Treads in that respect. But then you also don't, I mean, you're never going up against a sentry, like, 1v1 by yourself. If you want to take out a sentry sentry, you uber a freaking demo. I don't know why you would go against a sentry nest all by yourself. But anyway, so yeah, and then the other circumstance I was thinking of was if you got hit by like a rocket or stickies or something, which I'm not entirely sure why you would not want the pushback damage from that. I mean, it's not like you wanted, but it's like not getting pushed back by rockets or stickies doesn't really affect you that much. So yeah, to me the mantrids are a complete waste of space, just because, like, as I said before, their effects aren't really that good, and even when their effects, or rather the effects aren't in use that much, so not a fan. Last and probably least of all of the weapons we have been discussing today, we have the katana for the soldier, and this is really bad, and it should be fairly obvious as to why the katana is really bad. So, first of all, if you accidentally or purposely take out your katana, assuming that you're not on a melee-only server, you are going to get effed over because the soldier has a fairly slow move speed, actually a very slow move speed, and if you're going to be going melee-only with the katana, first of all, you're not going to get anyone because you can't catch up to anyone unless it's like a spy or something and he's going for you. But I mean, if you're going to be going for melee only, why not just be heavy and have that gigantic, massive health, 300 health, and, like, I don't know, Soldier's just in between, but his speed is still super low, so it just doesn't make for a good combination, and the katana just really sucks. Doesn't really matter if it does good damage or whatnot. I mean, the escape plan is obviously the best Soldier weapon, in my personal opinion, as of right now. I'm not sure about the equalizer, but yeah, just as a Soldier, when you're walking out with your melee, first of all, you can't sheath it, and second of all, you're so slow that you'll never, ever get a melee kill with this, being, I don't know, it's just ridiculous how bad that weapon is. And on that sort of sour note, I will end this video, and yeah, thank you all for watching, I really appreciate it, and I'll try to bring more terrible Team Fortress 2 as I get time to play Team Fortress 2 and test new loadouts and stuff like that. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a rating, I would appreciate that a lot, and if you're new to my channel, feel free to subscribe for Team Fortress 2 videos. As of now, I don't have a lot of Team Fortress 2 videos, but if you're new to my channel, you might not know that I do actually have an older channel called 0brilliant0o. It's pretty much been discontinued, but I do have at least 150 Team Fortress 2 videos under my belt there, so I'm not new to this whole thing, but anyway, so yeah, if you're new, feel free to subscribe, because I do bring a lot of videos just like this one, and yeah, that's pretty much all. Hopefully, I'll see you guys in the next video, and peace out.